darkness is your ally.
On the next Starblood Chronicles.
In the dark. I was born in it, molded by it. I didn't see the light until I was already a man. By then it was nothing to me but blinding. The shadows betray you because they belong to me.
Hello, welcome to Starblood Chronicles. Today's episode is the art of scrying. Shout out to my goons, goblins, witches, dragons, and all who are awakening. So, today, got my notes ready. We are going to learn about scrying. To me, from my experience, it is exactly like meditation, only with different tools, so to speak. Whatever tool calls to you is the one to practice with. Mirrors, you can use a bowl, get a black bowl of water, and you would stare into that. Not hard stare, by the way. It's a light blur sort of stare. You can use fire if you love fire. You can gaze into fire. Smoke. And another one of my favorites is the moon. Those are some of the best tools to use for scrying. If you find yourself in meditation getting frustrated and sitting down and only seeing a black void in your mind, then scrying is the next best thing. A lot of people prefer the use of tools because they do not believe that they are the best tool. You got to know that you have the power. Your magic wand doesn't have the power. The crystals that you use do not have the power. Everything is coming from your energy. But if it's hard for you to understand that at this point, then these tools will work for you, most likely. So you'll have to use one of the, cut that part out. These tools are just extensions of ourselves. By the way, let me just say that scrying is not a shortcut to anything. It takes more time than you think. And you have to be committed to doing it. Just like in meditation, you want to sit in a peaceful environment. Cut. Start over. 1, 2, 3. Just like in meditation, you want to sit in a peaceful environment until you can get into a meditative state. 15 minutes plus, nothing less. And build from there. You know, if you could do an hour, 45 minutes is pretty solid for me, but an hour, you know, I'm pushing to get to that. You have to be nice to yourself when you work this type of this mirror work. I call it mirror work. You don't force anything, and you don't insist on anything. If you've listened to any other of my videos, you just never insist. You just do open-mindedly and feel. You might see shapes, you might feel emotions, and then you put meanings to those for yourself, depending on whatever question you asked or what intention you came in with. So just like meditation, you do it when you feel called to doing it. Don't just do it like it's not like the gym. If you don't want to go, don't go, right? So if you ain't feeling the meditation or the scrying, which is a meditation, there's no need to do it if you're not feeling it. I want to start by telling the viewers that setting a circle is always a great practice. Do not start scrying until you know how to set a proper circle. So this isn't for anyone who just wants to look into different realities as I do. But you have to know what you're doing. This is just to show you how I do it. But if you don't know how to set a proper circle yet, learn that first. I, of course, use a dragon circle, and I use the black mirror for my scrying. After about a month of setting a circle, you'll probably be okay to stop if you want to. I just really like how it sets the ceremonial aspect of the ritual, of the meditation, and it puts you even into a very peaceful meditative state too. So it helps on all levels. However, for moon scrying, it takes a little more prep. What you do is you get a glass with an open hole in the center. I don't know, find one, make one. And then you get a staff or just a large enough stake, like a stick that you can put through the hole. Then you're gonna want to place, well, first sharpen one end or both ends. I don't know if you're weird like that. Just sharpen the bottom end, stick it into the ground because it's going to get the grounding energy from the earth. And then when you pour the water into the glass, you're going to want to make sure that the stick is like perfectly not allowing water to drain out of the glass. That will make sense to some people. So once you've poured the water and set a circle, light incense. Incense is always good for ceremonies. And a candle. I use a candle. One white candle because it's just white just means it doesn't have a specific meaning to it. It's open-ended. So that's why I like to use that. And once the water is poured, then you should be able to see the reflection in the glass of the moon at night. So obviously it has to be a clear night, a wide enough glass container where you can visually see the moon's reflection from the glass. And then the stakes in the ground, so you're obviously sitting on the ground. And that is moon scrying. Oh, and then you can keep the moon water too. Once you've scried with it and you feel like you've gotten what you wanted, even if you didn't get anything, it still has your energy plus the moon's energy in the water. So use it for however you want. If you're doing this, by this point, you know how to use moon water for whatever you do. If you are smart, you probably guessed by now that we are using reflections to peer into other places, realms, other realities. Let's say the spirit realm, for instance. So depending on your intention, what doors open is really going to be up to you and how you approach it. Like so if you're calling on to your ancestors or maybe a past loved one, which is an ancestor still, that's kind of gonna that's obviously gonna open the spiritual realm, the other side. And whether they come through or not, it's up to you. However you feel, if you feel good about it, then they obviously came through and gave you some energy. But if you're like me, you're gonna call on to your extraterrestrial counterpart. You're gonna call on another. Let's just say someone who shares the same oversoul as you. And if you know what an oversoul is, then you do. Cool. And that will open universes. So make a plan of intention first. Always have an intention or a question. Do not practice this with any fear in your heart. You will attract whatever entity that you are vibrating at. Okay? If you feeling like crap, you're not going to want to do this. Therefore, do not attempt this if you have fear about it. Some people, it took a while for me to even want to get into this. I had dreams, as I'll explain to you, what led me to know that I was being called to scry into the mirror. But yeah, please just do all your research before you start it, and wait till you've lessened your fear about anything in the spiritual realms. Work on yourself. Shadow work has worked for me tremendously. Okay, like I said, the only reason I was called to do this was because I kept dreaming of different symbols and images that that to me represented mirror scrying. I just knew it had to be scrying, not mirror gazing, not there's another one, not psychomantium. That's another one. I did start with a psychomantium, but for some reason this one was the one calling to me because I had a dream. I had a couple of them, but as I was just meditating as I always do, and then I was given a dream where I would see water running, and the water would be on the floor or coming down the walls, basically reflection, because water represents emotions. And in my dreams, I started to see black screens dipped in water. One of them I remember vividly is an old, like 1980s, huge box television, just like floating in black water. And I was like, could that mean scrying is my next not test, but my next practice to learn? And so I would think about it, but I never really cared to do it until, so I've always had little symbols of water and emotions and things that represented scrying to me. But just recently, the reason why I'm doing this episode is because now I've been doing this more and more as I got the shortest dream, but it was the biggest. It had the most meaning to me that I was ready to scry. So here it is. I'm dreaming and I'm falling. I'm falling down. What I assume I'm on top of is a bear, like I don't know, a grizzly bear or just a big bear. I don't know what kind of bear it was. And as I'm falling down, I'm gripping the bear like a life jacket, and we're just falling. And all I see is almost like a black ocean. Almost, there could have been icebergs around, It didn't seem tropical at all. It looked cold as shit. And it was all black water. It was all black water. And I'm falling down on top of a bear, and we're coming down like shh. Boom, we plunge into the surface of the black water. As we're going down, I think to myself, I can let go now. I can let go. And I kick off of the bear, right? And for some reason, I could see the bear. It looked like it was still sinking. And I think real quick, like, oh no, I hope the bear's okay. But anyways, I'm in the blackness of the water. And I'm slowly rising and rising and rising. And as I crack the surface, it's almost like they're not boats. They're just like planks of wood. And blurry people are picking me up. And then all the way down in the water, I see the bear getting saved by people. So I'm like, oh, awesome. We're good. And then boom, I wake up. Now the symbols to me, first of all, falling. I'm falling in my emotions. I'm falling into blackness, which is scary to people. But I know through what I've been learning is that's the only way to find the true you, is to go into yourself. Go into the unknown. The bear to me represented a protective shield, an armor. The bear was almost like my, not ego necessarily, not a negative ego. It was just my protection that I had to let go of to fully show up and surrender to the blackness. And that's what it represented to me, was to not only scry, but was to look deeper, go deeper, was what this dream meant to me. And as I popped the surface, and me and my armor, my bear, we were fine. That's when I knew Scrying was my next adventure. Now that you know why I do it, let's get into what I have seen while doing it. So, like I said before, please begin. I don't care how trained in the arts you may be. Just if you have never scryed, just set a protection for a little while. Just set your circle, and you'll ease yourself into it. It'll just be better. It's just better for you. Then you could stop when you want. All right, check this out. Ooh, Slytherin. Okay. The first time scrying, I saw what looked to be a giant eyeball. Now, this is significant to me and probably other meditators, because in just regular meditations, I see a giant eyeball, like it looks like a profile, just staring back at me. Sometimes it looks very dragonish, sometimes it looks regular. I don't know. But that's the first thing. And this is after a couple of times practicing. This doesn't happen just right away. You have to practice. And so I saw a big, sometimes it looked normal and sometimes it had a dragon type of look. See, that's what I said. This is right when after I was done, I would write down some stuff. Okay, now it's getting a little bit crazier. And by the way, the reason why you do this when you have lessened your fear to a very, very minimum, is because it is going to get weird. You might see yourself change. It depends on what is relevant to your life. When I did mirror gazing, I saw myself change into different people, female, ancient warrior males, dudes that look like hobos. Like it was mirror gazing is another thing. This is scrying. Okay. Here's another thing I saw while scrying. I saw large black eyes and what looked like an extraterrestrial, mostly like a gray. I just saw a few heads. Some were far away and some were closer. Maybe even a mantis being could have been in there. It looked a little more almond shaped than the rest of the other grays were just seemed to, and it's very faint. You need to be honest with yourself. Don't make shit up. Be honest with what you're seeing. At first you're gonna think you're not seeing it, but just write it down. Another time nothing much happened, but at the end of the session I saw the staring eye again. They just like to say, "Oh, we're watching you." I saw maybe 2 different grays another time. Just the eyes and the head. So it's just like the heads were like trying to like both peek in through this. It was pretty funny. But you can't get scared because there's no reason to. The more you go into the unknown, the more you'll find of yourself. I saw the eye again, but this time it blinked. I don't even remember writing that. That shit blinked at me. It looked like Gray's eyes. Oh, so they were like really round. And it looked like they had stars, like twinkles in the blackness of the eyes. Cool. Okay. Another thing, another time while scrying, I felt a shift in the room. See, you could get different things. Not everything's going to just show up in here. Everything's going to go a little kooky. My hair started to tingle. I know I don't have a lot right now. Only on the left side. Something about the left side is I don't know. I guess it's the receiving side, they say. This is your power hand. This is your receiving hand. So when I feel spirits, because I work in a area where there are many spirits around. So where I work, I can feel it in my left ear when their spirit is around. It's a crazy tingling sensation. Oh, my arm muscle twitched a few times. And something on my altar actually sounded like it got knocked over. And that's weird because I didn't find anything that looked like it fell. I just heard like a like just the, I don't know if that translated. But yeah. And then just recently I saw what looked to be a fairy. That's just how it came out to me, and it was not in here, it was in here. So what I do when I'm scrying, so you have this enough far away where you can see your reflection. You won't see it that well, but it's there. And then you have to have a candle, white, in front right here, just enough where you have the light flickering in this. And with that, you're going to see the shadows dance a lot more for you. And you just need one candle, and in the dark, you do it. And you just stare into it. And you could I close my eyes in between because it works the same way. You go see stuff through here, or you'll see stuff through here. Not a real difference, not to me anyway. I noticed that they're actually very similar, just plain meditation and using scrying. But scrying is helping me sit longer, get deeper. That's the whole reason why I'm doing it. And okay, now everything I talk about obviously is the spiritual realm. It's the natural realm. Nothing is supernatural. Everything is natural. You just don't know that yet. So practically every single time I finish with a scrying session, I go outside, obviously, to get the natural air and to ground outside. But what has happened more times than not, I start to see the stars moving. I just look up and you start seeing them just, or sometimes, and they're gone. And sometimes you see two, they just pass each other like ships in the night. It is pretty awesome. I mean, I recommend it for those who have more experience in first meditation, but also in those who have experience in sitting with yourself. If you understand how important it is to do that, then this will be another great path for you to find more and more into the zone of mystery. Always go towards the mystery because that's where you'll find more of yourself. And this is just the beginning of my scrying experiences. That's just the surface. But I want people who understand what I'm talking about to try it out. Let the fear lessen, practice it, and find out who you are and how many other yous there are. All right? All right. Y'all have a good night. Peace out.